This is Mike Blue Hair reporting for Film the Police Portland. This is one of the most lovely protest signs I've seen in a year. So I'm here with Mr. Kif Davis, Mr. Multnomah County Copwatch.
Oh,
so
yeah.
tell me about this lovely sign, Kif.
Well, this sign was originally a design that was by a band called MDC, which stands for Millions of Dead Cops. And they are a Texas punk rock band from the 80s. And
the millions of dead cops, that sounds horrible and militant. Why would anyone advocate for dead police officers?
I mean, don't know, maybe because they might advocate for dead civilians. But basically, this is a design that came out of the police kicking the crap out of people and being racist in Texas, and you know, and these guys grew up in this environment, so they were inspired to call themselves Millions of Dead Cops because they were tired of seeing people murdered in their neighborhoods.
So do any favorite tracks or songs for Millions of Dead Cops? I mean, what comes to mind? What's a good track if somebody wanted to?
John Wayne was a Nazi, or there's Dead Cops. There's a lot of songs.
Nice. Okay, so
Millions of Dead Cops in YouTube, you can find it. But
right on.
This kind of all ties into the whole Sandra Bland thing too. You know, that's what I made the sign for.
I mean, some people would argue that the Sandra Bland thing may very well have been a 21st century lynching.
Yep, it probably was, and the police have a long history of killing people, not only in Texas by hanging them, but places like Signal Hill, which is a little suburb of Long Beach, where they were killing people, and there was a athlete that was killed, and that was in 1981, and that basically opened up the can of worms of the police hanging multiple people, and that was in Signal Hill, which is in California, right by Long Beach. But the cops, their little cop culture, you know, that celebrates sadism and brutality.
So tell me about this.
They made shirts that said Signal Hill, Gateway to Heaven. If you go and just put Signal Hill Gateway to Heaven, you could find news articles about this. And
so these cops are actually hanging people.
Yeah, and then they were bragging about it and making T-shirts as souvenirs for hanging people. So you know, you can say that Sandra Bland might have just killed herself, but you know.
But this is a culture. This is a culture with cops in some parts of the country, correct?
Yep, and you know, and there's a lot of different, you know, white supremacist gangs within the police department, and that's been exposed, dating back to all kinds of, you know, going back to the slave catching days. But as far as, you know, you could go look stuff up like that came out during the LAPD riots and stuff. If you look up the Christopher Commission report, you can find a lot of stuff about all the racist and sexist and different radio transmissions where they're, you know, talking about like lynching people.
Yeah, I mean,
going
if you were to look at the Rodney King beating, I mean, there was a cop on the radio watching, just laughing, making jokes, saying it looks like a scene out of, and I quote, it looks like a scene out of Gorillas in the Mist. Yeah. I mean, LA's really bad with the racist shit, and the cops are so overboard. Yeah. I mean, they're actually making jokes about the guy looking like a gorilla as they're beating him to death. Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of cop culture in a lot of places in this country.
What you're talking about, that actually is what I'm talking about, how it came out with the Christopher Commission report. Mm-hmm. That all came out with all the radio.
I know, that's why I mentioned it, because you stimulated my memory.
Right on, man. Well, that's pretty much what I got to say, you know, about...
And that's why somebody would sport a t-shirt or a sign that says Millions of Dead Cops. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Keith.
Right on.